Good morning, students. Today we will be discussing a chapter called biological classification, and our topic will be fungi. Now, as you know that fungi is a kind of unique organism which resembles plant in having a cell wall, but do not have pigments, so it cannot perform photosynthesis. The kind of nutrition here is heterotroph and not autotrophs. These are not autotrophic organisms, as they cannot prepare their own food, they have no plastids, but they are eukaryotic, have all the organelles except for plastids. Okay. Now, they are distributed everywhere, in the soil, in the water, they may be aquatic, terrestrial. They may survive on other living organism as a parasite. They may grow on cow dung as a saprophyte. So, they can be decomposers also, at the same time they can be parasitic also. So, naturally that is the reason why they are very unique organisms. Okay. Now, let us look at about their morphology. See, in most of the condition they are filamentous. In a very rare condition such as yeast or Saccharomyces cerevisiae, they are unicellular, but in rest of the condition they are, in most of the forms they are filamentous. They consist of filaments. Now, these filaments are called as hypha, Hyphae, hypha. Now, these hypha can be branched also, cannot be branched also. They may be branched, they may not be branched, they may be connected to one another. When they are connected to one another, they form a network, and this network is called as mycelium. This network is called as mycelium. Now, this hypha may have number of nuclei, and it may be possible that in a hypha nucleus are present, but cross walls are not present. If the cross walls are not present, they are said to be non-septate. And if the cross walls are not present anywhere in the mycelium, they are called to be cenocytic. If it is not present anywhere in the mycelium, then it is called to be cenocytic. So, a mycelium can have septate wall. If they are having a septate wall, they will be called as septate. See, one septa having a nucleus, one cell having a nucleus. So, now they are called as septate. If these cross walls are not present, they are called to be non-septate, or when it is not present anywhere in the mycelium, they are called as cenocytic. Okay. Now, we have discussed that it is found everywhere. We have discussed some part of the morphology as such. Firstly, we will be discussing about useful fungi and those fungi which are harmful. So, we will be having a small discussion on this. Okay. A small discussion. See, in certain cases fungi can be useful. For example, penicillium is a kind of fungi through which we obtain antibiotics. We obtain antibiotics from penicillium. So, Penicillium notatum, that is a full name, through which we obtain antibiotics. Then there are certain fungi, mycorrhiza, they have been found to live as a symbiont with an algae, symbiosis. You must have heard about this term, symbiosis. Now, certain fungi live in association with roots of higher plants such as mycorrhiza. You have heard about lichens, that is symbiosis between algae and fungi. Here there are two partners, alga and fungi. One is able to prepare its own food, the other has a very thin filaments and it can draw important nutrients and water so that the alga partner can get the required water and nutrients. In return, the alga partner helps the fungi with the small amount of carbohydrate, so they can depend upon each other. This is the best type of interaction, population interaction any two individual can have, and this is called as symbiosis. Okay. In case of mycorrhiza, the roots of certain higher plants, they depend upon the fungi as such, because the fungi have a very thin filaments and they can draw phosphorus and water. They can penetrate those parts of the soil where even the roots of the higher plant cannot penetrate, and they can draw important minerals and water, and they can supply this to the plant. In response, plants provide carbohydrate and protein to the fungi. So, there is a mutual understanding between these two organisms as such. Okay. Now, let us talk about certain other things. In certain cases, fungi can be harmful also because it is responsible for very kind of diseases. For example, in human being, it causes ringworms. In certain other plants, for example, Puccinia. In wheat, it causes rust, which is responsible for destruction, or you can say less amount of yield in case of wheat plant. So, they may be harmful also, they may be useful also. For example, in case of unicellular fungi such as yeast, it is called as baker's yeast. And brewer's yeast. The reason being, it is able to, with the help of fermentation, it is able to form bread also, and it is able to form alcohol also. It is able to convert sugar or carbohydrate into alcohol with the help of a process which is called as fermentation. So, in that case, it is useful also. So, now we will be talking about certain other aspects of fungi. Let us take the life cycle of fungi. First of all, let us discuss about sexual, asexual and vegetative propagation in fungi. So, let us start with reproduction of fungi. Reproduction in case of fungi. Okay. We have three types of reproduction: vegetative reproduction, then we have sexual reproduction, and then we have asexual reproduction. That is the three ways in which the algae can reproduce. Now, first of all, let us discuss about vegetative reproduction in case of algae. It is also a kind of asexual reproduction. Now, vegetative reproduction can be of three kinds: fragmentation, then binary fission, or budding. Now let us see one by one. In case of fragmentation, the hyphae, or you can say the mycelium, it can disconnect to form two hyphae, and each hyphae which have been separated can give rise to another fungi. So this is very simple, observed in very simple organism. Fragmentation breaks down into two and is responsible for creating two new organisms. Now let us discuss about binary fission, and then we will be discussing about budding. Okay, what happens in case of binary fission? In case of binary fission, the cell divides into two, and then two new cells are formed. So it is also very simple. In case of binary fission, see, the division is more so ever equal. So this divide to form two equal cells, and both of them now can give rise to two new organisms. They have been separated. So this is how binary fission takes place. Okay, now let us discuss about budding. See, budding occurs in organisms such as yeast. In case of budding, suppose there is a single cell, then it will give rise to a new cell. First, what will happen is, see here, the nucleus is attached till here. After this, what is happening is, now this is getting separated, and then it is giving rise to two cells which are unequal but attached, and after some time these cells may get detached, and these two cells will again follow the same life cycle. So this is how the budding takes place. So this is all about vegetative propagation, or you can say vegetative reproduction. Now we will be talking about sexual reproduction. We will be talking about sexual reproduction in fungi. We will be talking about sexual reproduction in fungi. First is planogametic copulation. See, there are many types of sexual reproduction. Types are many. One after other, we will be discussing about various types of sexual reproduction. The first one being the planogametic copulation. Now, two gametes may be equal in size, male and female gametes. Morphologically, they may be very similar, or you can say identical. If they fuse together, they will give rise to a zygote. This type of gametes can be produced in case of fungi. One another thing, gametes may be little different in shape and size. Now the first case is called as isogamy, or you can say these are isogametes. Now this is anisogametes, anisogamy, or the gametes are called to be anisogametes. See, this is a process, isogamy, anisogamy. These are types of planogametic copulation types. And if suppose I am talking about these gametes, these are called as isogametes. Okay. Now anisogamy, here the two of the gametes are not similar in shape and size. Now we will be talking about another kind of planogametic copulation in which one of the cell is very large in size and the other cell is smaller in size and having a flagella. One of the cell is very large in size, though it is static, it does not have any flagella, so it cannot move. So this is a kind of called to be oogamous type. Oogamous type. This is isogamous type, anisogamous type, oogamous type. It will be correct to use the term isogamous type. This is anisogamous type and this is oogamous type. These are all three types of planogametic copulation where the gamete shape and size may be same. This is called as isogamous type, may be little different, anisogamous type, and in this case the male gamete is very small as compared to the female gamete, and the female gamete does not move while the male gamete is motile. So here it is said to be oogamous type. So this is about planogametic copulation. Let us talk about another type of sexual reproduction, that is called as gametangial contact. Gametangial contact. See, this is organ, this is called as oogonium. Oogonium, this is female organ, and this is called as antheridium. Oogonium and antheridium. Okay, let us draw certain so that it may look different. Okay. Now, in case of gametangial contact, a tube-like structure develops so that the male gamete is carried from the antheridium and it reaches the oogonium. So there is a kind of tube through which the male gametes are carried from the antheridium and it reaches the oogonium. Here it is called as gametangial contact. Okay, this type of reproduction is called as gametangial contact. Now let us talk about another form of reproduction. sexual reproduction, which is called as gametangial copulation. It is referred to be gametangial copulation. These are the two male and female organ. When they are getting in contact with each other, slowly after some time they will form a structure which is called as, they will develop a structure which is called as zygospore. This is now called as zygospore. This is antheridium and this is oogonium. Now after some time, when the zygospore is formed, the spores which are present here will be released outside after the formation of zygospores. So this is a kind of sexual reproduction when the two reproductive organ gets in contact with each other, and that is the reason why it is called as gametangial contact. Angial contact. This is again a kind of sexual reproduction case of fungi. Let us now discuss another kind of sexual reproduction in fungi, and that is called as somatogony. That is called as somatogamy, sorry, not gomy, somatogamy. Somatogamy. In this kind of sexual reproduction, the cells, or you can say the mycelium, or you can say the gamete cells, they get in contact with each other. Two hypha of the same mycelium, either the same mycelium or different mycelium, if they are getting in contact with each other, or two different gamete cells are produced and they are getting in contact with each other, such kind of sexual reproduction is called to be somatogamy. So this is all about type of sexual reproduction in case of fungi. Now let us discuss asexual reproduction in case of fungi. Asexual reproduction in fungi. In most of the cases, in case of asexual reproduction, spores are produced. Spores are produced. There are special hypha which produces spores. Now you know, I have already told you that fungi consist of number of hypha connected together to form a mycelium. There may be certain hypha which are special hypha and they are responsible for production of spores. For example, in certain cases, let us suppose this is a special hypha and these are producing this special hypha is called as sporangiophores, and these are special structures which have been developed here. You can see here special sac like structure have been developed, inside that spores are present. These spores are called as sporangiospores. See the difference. Here I have written sporangiophores, Phores, and here I have written spores. So pores phores and spores spores, that is the difference. This signifies spores and phores signifies a special hypha on which spores are produced. So through this is a kind of spores, sporangiospores, which are produced in asexual reproduction. Now these are, you can see the covering, a kind of covering in which the spores are present. See, it is something like this, okay, a special covering, and here the spores are present. If this covering is present, they are said to be endogenous spores. Endogenous spores. So spores are endogenous, having a covering. In case sporangio, they have been developed from a special hypha called as sporangiophores, Phores. Then they are said to be endogenous. That means spores having a outer covering over it. But in certain cases, in case of fungi, spores are produced which do not have outer covering over it. For example, these are special hyphae which are called to be conidiopores, Phores, and they are producing conidia. These conidia are actually what? Conidia are conidia. These conidia are spores. But you see, there is no outer covering over it. They are naked. So they are called to be exogenously produced. Exogenously produced. Exogenously produced. Okay, I hope you have got it. So in case of asexual reproduction in fungi, there are certain spores which are called to be zoospores, which have flagella. These are flagellated spores. So this is all about asexual reproduction. Here mostly the spores are produced, and spores may be naked as in case of conidia. They may have an outer covering as in case of sporangium or sporangia, produced through a special hyphae called as sporangiophores. And in this case, in case of conidia, there is no outer covering and it is produced from a hyphae, special hyphae which is called as conidiophores. So that is the difference between them. Okay. Now let us talk about, see, in case of sexual reproduction, whatever the mode of sexual reproduction, it may be planogametic type, may be gametangial contact, may be gametangial copulation, but one thing is clear, that first of all the cytoplasm unites. Cytoplasm of the gametes or the two cell unite with each other, and that is, and then after cytoplasm, then the nucleus unites with each other. That is called as cytogamy, union of two cytoplasm belonging to two different gametes, and then it is followed by karyogamy, that is the union of two nucleus belonging to two different cells. So cytogamy is accompanied by karyogamy, but in certain fungi such as Basidiomystes belonging to class Basidiomystes, which you will study later on, and Ascomystes, this cytogamy is not followed by karyogamy, that is the union of nucleus is not does not take place very immediately after cytogamy. I mean to say, after cytogamy, karyogamy does not take place for some time. That is, though the cytoplasm, see, suppose this is a gamete, this is again a gamete. If they are uniting with each other, if they are fusing with each other, they form a cell, one cell, or you can say zygote, but having two nucleus which are not fused, at least for some time. Though the cytoplasm of the two cells have united, but the nucleus is not undergoing fusion. Nucleus of the two cells have not undergone fusion. In this condition, it is called to be dikaryophase. This phase is called as dikaryophase, and this condition is called as dikaryon. This condition is called to be as dikaryon. Now, based on morphology and mode of reproduction, fungi has been classified into 4 classes, which we will be talking about in our next lecture. Thank you. Have a very nice day. I hope you have understood.